Ever heard something that made you spill your tea, roll your eyes, or plain laugh out loud? Welcome to Say What Now TV, your place for daily content on tongue-slipping, mind-bending social issues and trending topics around the world. Be amazed, get annoyed, be entertained. Welcome to another episode of Say What Now TV. Today's episode takes us to the island of Jamaica. Children are being bartered for commercial sex. We have been wondering where our missing children are and have dreaded the worst. The nightmare, unfortunately, is real, as many missing children, both boys and girls, are victims to sex trafficking on the island and abroad. There is evidence of children being victims to commercial sex with tourists and even locals. We tend to believe that most of the missing children are dead or off the island, but a considerable number are here, hidden in plain sight. In a previous video, information was shared on missing children. Check out the link in the description box below. Of the total number of missing children per year, an average of 40 sex trafficking cases are identified and investigated. For 2021, there are 42 human trafficking cases so far. This is the highest recorded in the last 5 years. The numbers outlined are only for cases identified. Of the number of cases investigated, less than half result in convictions. In recent years, the convicted cases originated from tips provided by informants using the National Hotline for Cases of Child Abuse provided by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. For 2021, 21 of the 41 cases identified have been verified and are being prosecuted. You might be wondering, who are the primary targets for sex traffickers? Sad to say, it is young women, teens to early 20s, girls and boys with some as young as 5 years old. In some cases, young men are taken, but it is predominantly young women and children. The social pressures of society can lure unsuspecting victims into the nets of human traffickers. Some common avenues used by these predators to lure victims include false advertisement for persons seeking to migrate in search of better living conditions, false advertisement for persons seeking jobs, fake business opportunities presented to persons living in poor conditions, false security and assistance provided to abandoned orphans and homeless youths, snatching of persons in and around nightclubs, massage parlors, and resort towns. Another practice often overlooked is the handing over of young girls and children to friends and relatives for support and care, who then sell off the children to human traffickers. Another involves the practice of encouraging young girls to exchange sex for money to support the family. Some persons buy into stories of a better life for the child, not knowing where the child will go. Sometimes the family involved or the guilt of a parent causes them to not report the incident until it is too late. Some of the children are relocated and remain on the island conducting services of commercial sex and even child labor. Others are sent to countries where they become sex slaves. We need to understand the level of manipulation traffickers use. They do not walk around telling people that they will be selling off children in sex trafficking. They simply prey on the weaknesses of individuals seeking a better life. They are also not the face of the transaction. They network with people and entities that put up the facade of a formal business to lure young men and women. The children are most vulnerable as they are handed over by the very ones who should be protecting them. Border security is a big issue. Moving children through the borders is relatively easy, as linkage to the missing children's identification process is weak. Alarming and a hard pill to swallow is the declaration made by the U.S. State Department that members of the Jamaican police force could be involved in human trafficking rings on the island. The U.S. State Department has also declared that the problem of human trafficking in Jamaica has escalated since the start of the pandemic. The success of interventions to curtail human trafficking in Jamaica is attributed to entities including the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons out of the Ministry of Justice, a specialized anti-trafficking police unit, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, among others. Check out the video link on missing children for more related information. A 20-year penalty and fine is applied for trafficking cases involving young adults, and a 30-year penalty is applied for the trafficking of minors through the Trafficking in Persons Prevention, Suppression and Punishment Act. The Act was amended in 2014 and includes an order for the increase of penalties for human trafficking. The slow pace at which human trafficking cases move through the justice system makes it extremely difficult to hold traffickers accountable. Sometimes the victims themselves refuse to stand witness to the deed for fear of stigma and public shame. The matter of human trafficking should be talked about as much as issues surrounding missing persons. One positive is the increase of public messages warning people about false advertisements and other deceptions that contribute to a young woman or child being taken. The amendments to the existing legislation must be fast-tracked for the institution of more stringent penalties like life sentences for traffickers. Given the complex network of human trafficking, dismantling the system may require the strengthening of regional and international partnerships. A list of offenders could also be published as a deterrent to others. Before I close, here are some signs to look for in suspected cases of sex trafficking. Noticeable signs of fear in a young woman or child in the presence of an adult who could actually be a facilitator or handler. Children appearing out of nowhere to live with an adult or adults and are not known relatives. Young women and children without identification, no IDs, birth papers, etc. Presence of children not attending school. This one is tricky due to online schooling since the start of the pandemic, but it is good to keep a watchful eye. And lastly, signs of physical abuse. Share your views in the comments below and be sure to like, share and subscribe. Also check out another episode of Say What Now TV. Do you have a burning issue that would shock or entertain our viewers? Share your scoop at saywhatnowtv10@gmail.com.